Be inside.
Yeah, I don't care for LA weather or the lack of weather. There is sun, more sun, and then there's fire, and that's kind of the 3 seasons of LA. But speaking of fire, this match, I want to see those teams on fire. That was a horrible transition, but it's all I got.
Oh, I like that one actually.
No, I like that.
Thank you.
That
Was it actually? I thought I was
you hated on that, but that was.
I don't know. I thought that was too obvious. Vision Esports. We got to see them play yesterday. It was against OWCS. It wasn't their match to win, but they fought back. So honestly, everyone should feel pretty good about their chances going up against Team Peps, a team that have been up and down throughout the regular stage.
All right, I gotta sell you on this matchup, okay?
Oh,
this is as honorable EMEA matchup as it gets, okay? On the one side, you have Peps, 4 Frenchmen and 2 Swedes. And on the other side of things, you have Vision Esports. And they're both like middle-of-the-pack teams. They just both want to punch up. They're not going to be the Crazy Raccoon versus Falcons gameplay, but they will just be giving their absolute all. A battle of Europe. I love this. This is peak EMEA stage 3 for me. I think this is going to be an absolute banger. Both are going to play really fun compositions. On the one side, Vision Esports, they just want to play dive, choice of one, popping off on the Tracer, Cookie. Great hitscan player to go as well. And then Violet. Who knows what Violet is going to do? It's just going to be an absolute fiesta. Whether it's on the Lucio and Ajaxing, the Ilari comes out. It's going to be a great time. And then you have Peps as well, who are just... I just love Peps. They're so iconically EMEA. They're as European as you can possibly get. Maybe missing like a Swiss member or like maybe someone from Poland. But for the most part, it's so EMEA that this is peak EMEA for me.
It's big EMEA Esports, really, because it's France and Sweden. There we go. Like we're on it. But yeah, Choice One, he had a great game yesterday. We got to see more of that. On the other side, of course, for Team Dips, I wanted to say no. For Peps.
Gorillas.
Dip, he went past all the gorillas. He's now with Peps, and thoughts on this team and their chances against Vision, Jake?
1 dip versus 100 Peps. We'll have to see if it's enough. Honestly, I feel like Team Peps, they just lost to good guys in the regular season. Like, you're hyping this up, Johnny, but there's a real chance this is like Team Peps just falling over, Like, I am scared for them in this match, especially because, this was a relatively competitive series that Vision just delivered against OWCS. Like, fighting, looking strong, playing these, like, high-pace comps, not really relying on the double flex sport that's been their calling card. Like, Cookie had a big day yesterday, and so, honestly, FD God, watch out, man. If Kelix is being forced to Ajax, like, FD God is about to enter a world of pain against Vision. And so I think this backline needs to really have big games. We've seen Zerian at times have big performances, come up with a lot of kills. I think that kind of fighting potential is going to be crucial with a Tracer like Choice One breathing down your neck, right? This backline needs to go toe-to-toe. Dip, we know he can have big games, especially combined with Willis when they have that synergy, when they're hitting those strong dives. That can be good, but it's going to need to be great. I think Vision actually impressed me yesterday, the 3-0 scoreline notwithstanding, and Team Peps just lost to good guys. I mean, they squeaked into playoffs. They are on...
You're reading into it.
Barely on
it's
their
fine.
last life.
They didn't need to win it. It's all good.
They didn't need to win.
They didn't need to win it. I mean, that is one of the most copium statements you could say, Johnny. Oh, it's fine. They didn't need to win. It's just
sometimes you have an off game. You get a good night's sleep. Crank some caffeine, and then you're back up on the horse, and they can really take it to Vision Esports. I think this match is a great unknown. If you go into this one, I can't wait to see the channel points, because it's like 80-20. It's a disgrace. It should be like 60-40.
I think it's going to be heavily skewed in Vision's favor. So is my prediction for this one. I think Vision takes this one. I actually think it's going to be a pretty one-sided affair, just because that's recency bias, right? Because of the way Peps fell to the good guys a week ago, I'm struggling to have faith here.
You guys are freaking out.
I'm struggling.
This is crazy.
I'm putting channel points house on Team Vision right now. All 25,400 channel points are going
right
on.
now.
Go all in, bro. Thank you for your channel points. I'm all in.
Okay.
I'm all in. I bet the house.
Johnny on Peps.
If I can't make rent, Johnny, I'll come stay with you in the gym.
Johnny, are you wrapping the sweets? Are you doing it?
Well, they put in Vision for me actually, and I said like give me a Vision initially, but I might have to swap the pet.
Are you gonna hit the? I hit the flip flop yesterday, and
you should.
ended up winning. I just want to say, so maybe the flip.
You're gonna look so smart.
That's good juju. That's good juju for Peps. So Johnny's
sorry, I'm a little distracted. I'm trying to figure out how to bet these points. 91 to 9. I have 65,000 points. I'm putting 65,000 points on Peps right now.
Oh my God, Johnny,
I'm all in 65,000 points on Peps. Disregard the Vision thing down there. Disregard the Vision thing. I put it all on Peps.
You put the channel points house down. That's we're way beyond the Preds at the bottom of the screen.
I like push the odds.
Channel points on the line.
I'm like push the odds up.
Yeah, no, this is desperation mode for Johnny. He lost Fantasy League to Jake, and now he's just.
This will be redemption. I will say, if Johnny's right about this, I have to.
I need a hotline right now.
About winning vanity.
Someone wellness check on Johnny, please. Samoa is where Vision is taking us. Do we like it?
Okay, so Vision picking Samoa. I mean, I think this mitigates some of the cheesing factor. I feel like this is just like more Vision wanting to play this Lucio pace comp. I mean, honestly, the way I see, like, based on how Vision played yesterday, I feel like they want to play the same stuff as Team Peps. So I'm really curious to see how the bans end up coming, like where Vision tried to get the edge. Maybe against a team like Peps, instead of Katsuya, we will see like a Junkertown Kiri ban and bringing out the Illari that has been kind of a bread and butter mainstay.
Please play the Illari. I beg of you, Violet.
Ooh, okay, Lucio ban and a Tracer. We're about to see a weird Samoa, man. Lucio and Tracer out.
Yeah, this is going to be absolutely nuts.
God, I don't even know what you play here. Is like some sort of. I actually have no clue. I think both teams are like, wait, what do we do now? Like this is the peak bans. Both teams are like, have you ever played?
Everyone in Overwatch just like, what do we do? Lucio,
have you ever played Samoa without Lucio and Tracer? Like I'm low key like maybe is it you can't even play like Zarya Reaper? Is it like a sim comp maybe with no Lucio?
That's where the head goes. Just like,
bring out the Torb. Bring out the Torb.
Sim Reaper, yeah, but...
Little Bastion, little Torb. I think this is when you get silly. Lucio and Tracer out is when you get silly.
Yeah, I like the Sim Bastion. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when you're in a playoffs where everything is on the line and literally every map matters, that's definitely where we should get silly. That's a really good advice, Jake.
I mean, the Lucio and Tracer bin. That's like the definition of silly. Like you took out.
You kind of did it to yourself.
The normal, like honest Overwatch heroes are Lucio and Tracer, and you took them out on control. So no one knows what's gonna happen in this map.
That's me.
I will say
what's gonna happen.
This is like Violet can hard carry though. When you take these characters out, Violet is about to go dummy on this game. Although on the other side, maybe Zirian can have a big counter game. You know, maybe on the Kiriko could punish, but. I feel like Violet can play like a heavy-hitting flex support here and kind of go to town. With no Lucio, no Tracer, there's going to be a lot of room for the flex supports to work.
Well, we're about to potentially see a very silly game, so let's bring in our favorite clowns. It's going to be Mitch on the mic.
Oh!
She didn't.
Oh!
That's crazy.
A world start, yeah.
That's crazy. That's great. We ban Lucio Tracer once and everyone loses their minds, start coping for Peps.
And I mean, what is the channel point market is just a mess right now. I'm down, by the way, Mitch. So you obviously were gone for a bit.
Yeah.
I'm down to 86 channel points.
Dude, what do you mean I was gone for a bit?
It's been a rough go.
Went all in for Dilducks to beat
that is true.
GK, I think.
I'm trying to get some back. I'm big on Vision here, but this band thing kind of makes me feel a little odd here off the start. Look, they had a rough go yesterday with some moments, right? Look, Josie1 looked great at moments, and then there were times where, you know, we're getting lots of Ajax moments, just weird plays. So to see that Lucio banned here early on, right? You know, Violet would be able to play like a Wuyong, maybe an Illari, like the desk had mentioned, but I mean, you never know with these players on Vision. It's like feast or famine.
I mean, yeah, I think in general, like we talked about a 3-0 series yesterday. Jake highlights the fact that it was a close game, right? I think Cookie was really good when Sojourn's in his hands and he's able to sort of play almost like a sideline maps. Now, Samoa, especially Volcano, actually has slightly more constricted sightlines. I feel like if you're not playing Cassidy, it can be a little harder sometimes to get decent sightlines. At least yesterday we saw, I think, It might have been Cookie trying to play into a hazard and just sort of struggling to see what was going on. Either way, we're going to have Peps here. Ideally, right, come out with a Cassidy and something else. We'll trace a ban like the Reaper Cassidy is the possibility of that is real.
Yeah, this is going to be a weird one here at the start. We'll see. I'm more interested in what Vision decides to do. So it looks like at least here at the start, they're going to go with the ball here. And far in the mix. And it's going to be okay, so on a Kiri here, backline from Vision is yeah, Peps will run out with that Reaper Zarya.
Bro, Farah on this map? I mean, I suppose you can play out of Cassidy's sideline a little more around these corners and then punish when they get out into the open. The backlines are whack, dude. Juno Kiri for Peps and Ana, I guess for Vision is less surprising, right? They do like to play that double flex style. Choice one's been spotted here, a little isolated. At least he's able to make use of that mega health pack, but needs to circle back around. Vision are, okay, pretty split across the map here.
Yeah, and I'm not even really like, trying to obviously poke a little bit with this ball in like Farah combination, right? Like, maybe the Farah can kind of put down some damage and then even get in there with the ball and finish it up. But it never got really into anything because they don't want to challenge just like Zarya on the point, right? And then if you try and make a dive for the Cassidy, I mean, you have the Suzu, you have the Bubbles. I mean, just really difficult to kind of take out Zoro as they now push up.
I kind of like where Peps have ended up here, Matt, compositionally. They're playing like this death ball-y style, like brawler-esque composition with the Juno proximity healing, Reaper being able to make use of the Zarya bubbles, obviously, orbital strike now. Orbital ray, excuse me, it's 8% faster to generate. Right? Juno was the beneficiary of an actual buff in the previous cut, so I kind of like the look here for Peps. I think Choice one needs to soften them up pretty substantially before Tama drops on in, but that takes time, man. See, empty God straight away gets a bubble. Gonna be able to move away from this now. Kitsune rush deployed by Team Peps. It's Cookie down, but traded out. Destroy. One finally finds Pick. It ideally has to back away now, but look how far out of position Farah has to be. Even Tama can't really do too much to take the attention off it.
Yeah, it was a Kitsune rush there from Zerion as soon as they lose FD God, but Sile actually takes out Dip. But where is anybody who's going to be able to kind of like stand up on the point here? So now you lose FD God now, maybe with a nano boost here. Oh, it actually was on the Josie one. It's a falling. But like, who is going to get there to... Okay, so it's going to be finally Violet moving in with Tama. They will end up flipping the point, but man, that took an eternity, right? It felt like Vision was finding picks constantly throughout that Mitch, and it was like 20-30% that Peps was able to get on top of it. And now Dip is going to go over and play this Sombra, right? Just try and get these hacks on Atama. Maybe you can like get rid of the ball, and then everything falls apart.
All right, we'll see if Translocated away here, of course, for a Dip. Doesn't like what he sees there. Violet in a flanking position. Vision really playing, yeah, very split. This Wrecking Ball style allows them maybe to, group the Kiriko up with Tama, try and put some pressure down. Cookie found a couple of nice headshots in that previous fight. Here comes the ball now. Tama wants to drop on in. Minefield might be at the ready, and Willie's just trying to find a way to make use of this grab, but there's no one to see. All the Vision are very split apart here. Joyce one eventually brought down by Zerion's Kunai. The Cookie can play up the point and play outside of that grab and then punish Zerion.
Oh, I saw that. I mean, the grab comes down, and you end up getting a few kills after that, but it is a rough go here for Peps as Vision gets the point back.
All right, let's see, 54% now, ticking up for Vision. And we are going to be seeing if Zoro can break through. Obviously staying, of course, on this Cassidy. Switch over to the Sombra here, but Dib hasn't necessarily been gainful. Let's see if they can provide any more momentum now as Willie's will just try and control this mid to high ground. Tama looking for an opportunity going. Big hack on Choice one, though. That is going to allow Dip to capitalize virtually instantly. Willie's hit forced to fold away to some degree. Vision are in control, but now need to use his ball to try and stall the point out for as long as humanly possible. Willie's is trying to assert himself now. 81% for Vision is all they're going to get. Violet eventually falls, and yeah, a very wacky setup compositions here. Causes a very close round.
Yeah, the D.Va swap is great here, though, for Peps and Willie's, right? As now you have an EMP here, plus a Deadeye, potentially for the end of the map. Your Kitsune rush as well, as Vision behind Tama going to have to get in there pretty quick.
What's the plan for this to be? and counting here. Force back is Cookie. Under a lot of pressure, Zoro's going to have to surge forward here and try and really solidify control at this point. This EMP in a pinch could be huge. Ideally, you want to make use of it onto a backline. Comes out, does catch it on towards 2. That Peps able to find Peps to find 2 eliminations. Can they do more?
Yes, it looks like Mitch, they will be able to kind of close the round out. So, Willie, Zoro in.
Score 1-0.
Yeah, okay, so look, Volcano, a pretty weird map, right? I think the Sombra, an interesting inclusion late there from Div being able to, catch choice there, 1 out, essentially, punish the Farah for getting a little too close to the ground. Feels like it's really difficult to land these consistent grabs if you are Peps. So Willie's on the Zaya for much of that round there, but denied a couple of opportunities to really get big value.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look at the stats. FD got off to a pretty rough start. I mean, 0-4 there for Peps, but even still results in a point win. So still sticking with the D.Va here, moving on forward. As Vision also going to stay on the ball.
All right, let's head over and listen in to Peps, of course, after a very choppy first round. What their take is on the best way to proceed here heading into this next round.
They're fighting me, you need to go, I think.
I walk up. Just trade. Solo main. I'm chilling. I think so.
Yeah.
Can we take right again? Take right.
Take right.
Oh, man, kan. Chill.
Yeah, I'm back. Can you walk? Sorry,
I'm gonna take right. Go.
Keep.
I'm killing up.
Say one. Stay on point. I can touch. Phone. I can hack bull, main. Bull.
Kill.
Kill.
She's trolling. No, don't.
Nice cuts. Self, none of fuck 60. C'est chase. Maybe Zarya. Monkey. Respect turn stuff, Monkey. CD Monkey, okay?
Yeah. I'm going main.
Play for Fox, yeah.
Kill left. I'm gonna click
Chill, Monkey.
Kill the ball. Yeah, no problem. Swing main.
Just AFK main.
Monkey jump at Fox.
Yeah.
No problem.
Walk up.
No.
Celui-là. Orton.
Oh, kill me. Oh,
It's fine.
EMP inside.
Play for Genuine.
Sorry. Maxim. No problem.
Kenzie.
No one.
They all die. Keep on chasing.
KG, no more. KG,
T'as maybe. Kill him.
I'm in.
Monkey. Chase, no?
We chase.
No.
Can you go? Wait. Yeah, go. Add left. Azor. We can main.
Yeah.
We kill back Charlie. I will speed.
Wait. I need 4. You tell me.
Yeah. We can walk up now. We can kill, man.
Can we go? Can we?
Thanks for bearing with us, folks, and extend a listen in while we dealt with some technical issues on our end. But this round is getting over a little bit quicker than I would have otherwise expected. Vision come out with that, more standard for them Winston composition and have struggled against Peps, Matt. Willie's on the D.Va so far, and this Sombra Cassidy combination has been really effective. Cookie has to fight to keep them alive, but exposes himself just a little too much to Cookie's mech and is taken down by the self-destruct.
I mean, this is a brutal start for Vision. I mean, you're going to end up losing here on Samoa, 2-0. They were more competitive yesterday, right? Against VP, it was against Alcancia, was Vision. Then they were here against Peps. I mean, Peps just worked them on this map.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought we would have had a bit more time to come back and sort of cover that second round, but a shutout after a really competitive Volcano. Sees Peps go up a map against Vision? I don't think this is how...
a huge shock, right?
Yeah, this is not how it's supposed to go at all. The channel point market is completely blown out at the moment. And honestly, I feel like the combination of bans throws things into utter chaos. And neither of these teams really know what the correct play is, but I feel like Willie's settling on Xayah in that first round and then getting to play the Diva in downtown is a big difference maker.
Well, it feel like, you know, we see Thomas' stat line actually not look like terrible there, you know, 13-3, but it just feels like the ball and then the Winston, especially against like Zarya and Diva, are just like, it's just like worse picks, right? You know, in terms of trying to play those into each other. So maybe some adjustments at Atama needed moving forward, but this is also one where you think there's probably an advantage for Vision in the support line as well, Mitch, in the sense that like FD Gods Lucio is kind of banned, right? Peps probably love to kind of play that. He's forced on to the Juno. I know what we talked about his stats after round 1. You know, no elimination, no kill contribution, pretty good on terms of the healing. But like that's a pretty sizable weakness there for Peps, and they actually just kind of deal with it with ease.
I wonder, like, you know, does Tama have Xayah in the hero pool, for example? Feels like that's a very reasonable pick on that first round, where you can play like Ramattra, I guess, something similar, or something maybe that's not Wrecking Ball. You don't have Tracer. So your Wrecking Ball, is it supposed to follow up on the Farah poke damage?
Yeah, I mean, I don't
like,
know.
Who's deciding what comp they're playing?
Somebody cooked too hard with the bans on, you know, maybe it was on both sides there in map number 1, where Peps takes it, which is a little bit of a shock because we talked about yesterday, Vision has been really good at kind of like punching down here in EMEA against some of these teams underneath them. It's just been kind of like reaching up to that top level. And then yesterday, their games were like reasonably close, right? Outside of like some horrific blunders. And then to lose here versus Peps, I mean, that is at least here map number 1. It's a pretty brutal start.
It is a map where Peps do opt to ban a Tracer, right? Put Choice in one maybe in a less comfortable position. If this team isn't just going to arbitrarily play the Symmetra, it doesn't feel like it's in, you know, their wheelhouse. Before we get on to the next map, do want to mention, if you would like to take your competitive edge in Overwatch to the next level, you can do so over on FACEIT. Season 7 has begun, so you have an opportunity to climb up the ranks in the FACEIT League, make it into FACEIT Master, and then qualify for the OWCS from there through that promo and relegation phase, something that Peps and Vision both have done at some time or another. FCE.gg/FACEIT League. You can also compete for FACEIT points along the way to get yourself some great rewards and goodies at the FACEIT store. So check it out. And you yourself might be inting by playing Wrecking Ball with a Tracer ban and a Lucio ban.
Yeah. You know, you get to the OWCS with the team, you make FACEIT. I'm sure they're great friends. You put together some good performance, maybe you find another team in the OWCS, right? You start working your way up. I mean, that's the way to go about it. It's not Junkertown selection here for Vision. Are they going to play Alari here? This is going to turn into a weird series. I feel like this is going to be a series that is just going to, you know, send Jake and Johnny into just some kind of like, you know, mauling episode when we go back to the desk. It feels like so.
Yes, the Kiri
Vision goes to they get rid of the Kiri, so you probably see the Alari. And then you have Peps, they get rid of the ball. I mean, Willie's not going to play the ball, right? So is Tama going to play Winston here? Like, and then Willie just plays like the Diva? I mean, I feel like that's pretty decent for Peps.
Yeah, no, I honestly don't hate Peps' sort of chance.
I don't hate how they're, yeah.
Look, I do think Zerian is a very proficient Kiriko player, but you know, we've seen him on a number of those flex supports where Ana is one. I would like to see Yari make her way in. That also begs the question if we see more of a trend towards, we've even seen Sigma in NA this year, right? That is cropped up here and there. So you can play the more poke style. I've seen players like Lethal also pick up the Hanzo on occasion. So it doesn't shock me maybe to see at least a hovering of some of these sniper heroes. And it's going to be Peps, though, dip on the Tracer now after it's banned, are going to be on this tried and true Xayah composition. So it'll be Baptiste, of course, who's, you know, a match made in heaven for Xayah. If Tama doesn't play Xayah in map 1, he's not going to play it here. So we might end up seeing two very different styles. The Xayah Death Pool look versus like the Winston Genji dive with Ana backup.
Yeah, and this was you know, when they played this, these two teams met up in week 5. When they played that series, it was a 3-1 division, and Vision ended up picking this map as well, and we ended up getting a Kiri Zarya ban. So a little bit of a different world in which the bans kind of come out, as Willies will end up being able to play that Zarya here, and you're going to see Ilari Ana, a really greedy backline here from Vision.
With a Winston dive, so it's not even like this like slow roll poke comp position. Tama just is the kind of the wild card here, the odd one out, so to speak. Can take high ground space and maybe sort of deny, sidelines away from Peps if they want to punish this ERE, but like Violet is being pretty undertended here, and as time goes on, is getting some really solid damage. Still does more than Cassidy from that position. I just want to point out, power creep in this game is real.
Well, that's going to get that immortality field out of the 3-player bio there from Sile, but Zerion and FD God kind of using the speed to get everybody around the corner, and then having the ability to use that immortality field kind of keeps everybody up.
I mean, it's tough to play Ana in this comp against Lucio and Zaya, right? Zaya just kind of gets caught out of position. He's in the middle of the fight. Now Vision, who don't really want to play cart with this setup, right? No one except the Tracer on their team actually contests all that well. They need to soften up Pebble before they even think about the objective. And in a fight like this, a protracted engagement when they're actually forced to stand their ground, they kind of get crunched.
Yeah, they get rolled, right? And I think what you worry about here for Vision, right, is if Cookie isn't really kind of finding these like pickoffs at range or even kind of putting down some serious damage. Like there is so much to protect that back line, and just players from Chosuan just kind of like running crazy, right? We talked about how his Tracer like really kind of turned, moments of that series yesterday, but like you have Dip, who's a serviceable Tracer, you can mark him. FD God able to kind of like boop, knock him out of the way. You have the immortality field bubble, so there's a lot to protect from Chosuan just getting into the backline, just running crazy through Peps. Is this going to be an Ant Matrix here from Zerion? Put out there in the open, going to prevent them from pushing up for the time being.
Dips also found Chosuan inside this room, is going to force the Tracer on out. Healing pile on the only casualty of that engagement, even though there was an entire Ant Matrix throwing up. Dip finding Sile again out of the first casualty of this fight. Violet trying to even the ledge a little bit with this captive summon. There's an immortality field in play that covers up much of that, but it's not enough to keep Zerion alive. Now, Cookie is very low, and now with Violet out of the game, you've only had Sile just come back off respawn, but I don't think the line of sight is great for him, and a sound barrier here for Peps should seal the deal in this engagement. Nice buy on Willies, but no one's looking at the Zaya right now, and he can just bubble this off at some point.
Yeah, and you're going to have the grab here. It's going to be used to just kind of shunk down Tama as the Primal not going to be able to make him live. Is Violet's going to switch to Lucio, come back, take out FD God. So, yeah, you just have Willies and one other player here at the moment. Dip will end up falling.
Yeah, I mean, there's the bubble given over to Dip there by Willies, trying to buy a little bit more time, but eventually Peps had just been cut down to size. They will have a chance to contest this. Stepping forward now is Willies with probably at least one bubble at the ready, but he's given it over to Zoro. By the looks, he's trying to make a play with this overclock. All of Vision peel off the card. They cannot contest it very well. They're going to come back in with the Doomfist, though, who probably does a better job than Winston in fighting around that static objective. But Dip has another pulse bomb. He's looking for a chance to make use of it, and Tama is in a bit of an awkward spot.
Yes, it's going to be Zaro just going over the top, getting to the high ground, but you see Tama taking so much damage here from Willies. Nice immortality field going to keep Zerion and FD God alive at the moment. This Mitch, we're only down to 30 seconds.
Yeah, the clock has been boiled down to very little now. Violet's had to go over towards the Lucio. Unlikely he finds a sound barrier in time for this. 24 seconds left. And Vision Esports are getting absolutely dominated. Sile and Cookie the first to fall, and the rest of Vision like dominoes behind them. There's hardly any time to get a touch.
This has been absolutely brutal for Vision thus far. Under 10 seconds. Is anybody even going to be able to get a touch? They all die so late. As Tama ends up using his slam, he's not going to be able to make it back. It looks like it'll just be Chosuan who gets a touch.
Okay, here we go. Coming back in the Doomfist now. Still the Zaya's been getting a lot of value, but FD God gets stunned up briefly by a punch. Is able to be rescued, and that sound barrier is going to be online for both Lucio players here. Immortality field has to be burned. Zerion barely alive right now, but Choice one is picked up in the window, and FD God finds his beat when he needs it. Violet has to go for a 4-player sound barrier. There's no other choice, and Tama's getting taken very, very low already. Obviously, the slam is going to be at the ready for Tama, but everyone respects it, backs away. He takes a big amount of damage as he drops down.
Oh,
and what the heck are Vision Esports doing, bro? This is egregious.
They rolled out of the wrong side of the bed this morning. I don't know what's going on here. This looks like maybe there's a little bit of boomage kind of from yesterday, but I mean, that just did not look good whatsoever. I mean, Tama maybe just doesn't have the Zarya like in the hero pool, and then with the ball gone, I mean, you're just stuck to play what? You're gonna play Doom Winston here? I mean, this is as brutal of a start as you could possibly get.
You know, Zaya obviously has her challenges, but but feel like it's a little less technical than some of these dive heroes that Tama's been playing. The Ball, the Winston, the Doomfist. Those are all very high skill ceiling, very high complexity picks. Tama here finally goes over to the Zaya, or at least is telegraphing this map.
It looked like potentially, okay, they're going to come out on this. So they're going to play Wuyong. So yesterday we didn't see any of Wuyong. Obviously, I know adjusted here with this like latest patch to kind of like move some of his power around. So Violet will end up playing the Ana here. So they'll play Ana Wuyong with Tama on the Zarya. We'll see how this looks here. Is for Vision, right? If this actually looks pretty good, you're like, well, why didn't you play the Zarya at all on Samoa, right? Like, where was it? So it looks like Zoro will just take a shot here with a little bit of a boost from Zerion, and then we'll probably see a swap here over to the Sojourn.
Zoro with some damage on Tama, rather, which Tama bubbles. So the bubble doesn't do anything, because obviously Zoro's not shooting anymore. And at least get Peps off to the races now. To switch now over to the Soj. Willie's realizing for the first time, he's going to get himself a Zaya fight. Now, this poke damage from Sile is real, but it's kind of hard to hit anyone with where Sile is playing from.
Right. And I mean, look how much car progress they're giving up already. You see that golden box of victory already on Willie's screen. I mean, they're like, you're almost like in one fight scenario here, especially with Vision. Like, they don't have any speed, right, coming out of spawn.
There's a Wuyong wave, but Sile's under a lot of pressure right now in that backline. He's being looked at by Dip, and Choicy One's taken down by Zoro. It's cooked! It might be over! Sile has to stay alive somehow, but, I mean, Violet can't afford to keep eyes on him. That is brutal stuff, man. Vision Esports have let this one fall by the wayside. It's their map pick, by the way. They're the ones that open with the Kiri ban, and Peps play the most simple, robust composition and make them look like fools. Here's Tama looking to step out now. There's going to be a contest opportunity for Vision Esports at the least, but Peps can take their time. Violet's been taken down by Dip. He's gotten into the back line and found both supports now as Sile is next on the chopping block. Nothing much more to say than this. The Vision Esports, what have you done?
I mean, Johnny is looking at the lakefront property with his channel points right now. I mean, his potential channel point winnings are going to be insurmountable as Peps takes a 2-0 lead, and in a pretty commanding fashion there, Mitch. Like, on the defense for Vision, they just kept getting pushed back. You end up losing a few players, and then guess what? You have no speed. You really, it's just Chosuan who can get there with a bubble to end up getting a contest, and you lose both supports right away. As this has just been a horrific start for them. Willie's really kind of dominating the tank battle.
Obviously, plenty of series still to play, but Junkertown was the map that Vision chose against Peps last time.
I mean, he said there's plenty of series left to play. I mean, with the way it's going, I mean, Vision gets another map pick, but like they wanted to get an Alariana into this, right? This is like the actual kind of like preferred setup for them on Junkertown. And then, like I mentioned, the last time that these two teams had played, they won Junkertown pretty convincingly. They completed the map, and then it was just like the first point and then some change for Peps. So, I mean, this has been... So where do they go now? So in the last series, they did end up playing King's Row. But Vision wins that in OT, so it wasn't exactly pretty. Esperanza is a map that actually Peps took them to and ends up winning in the final moments, just by like, 1 meter. So not a massive blowout there, but I mean, you see some of the stats here, dude. I mean, this looks like this is what worries you about Vision Esports, right? It's like yesterday they played pretty good against obviously one of the best teams in the region, and then today they come in against the team that they just beat like 3 weeks ago, and then they're on the verge of getting swept. It's just that volatile for them. I mean,
this is a pretty damning sort of stat card for them, right? And I think the Wrecking Ball ban shouldn't necessarily hamstring Vision at all on a map like this. Yeah, I mean, you do probably want to try and play some Wrecking Ball, at least at the start of Junkertown, right? We've seen a lot of comps that have the ball and some snipers, some long range hit scan DPS in there. But outside of that, you kind of get your pick and choice of what comp you want to play. There's no reason why Peps can't, Vision rather, can't choose a setup that suits them quite well. But that greedy backline caused them to, fall, I think, on multiple occasions to like the pressure of Dip, right? Especially when Vision were on defense. Dip finds the Wuyong straight away. and is already peppering him down, forcing Violet to turn, look at the Wuyang and not his front line. And Wuyang dies anyway, and then Violet dies. So, you know, you've really got to think about when Kiri is banned, trying to have a still pretty safe and serviceable backline.
Okay, so they take us to Suravasa, which we saw them play yesterday against Alcatia. They actually looked pretty good. They end up losing it 3-1 to Alcad, right? But like, let's say you end up winning here if you're Vision, right? You're giving map selections the rest of the way to Peps, and like, you know, you could go to King's Row. You know, they have already beat them on Esperanza, so still in a pretty good spot here for Peps to make a pretty massive upset, I think, as a lot of us believe like Vision VP could be like a game that, you know, could happen, that could like be deterministic on who goes to like Stockholm, which obviously I think we'd all favor VP, but still, like, you would have thought that Vision would at least be in the mix there.
Ban Thomas Winston and forcing him to play Doomfist on Suravasa is what is in my head.
There's no that. Well, what they would just play ball, right? Are you gonna play ball into the Zarya? Like if Willie just keeps rolling with the Zarya, like so yesterday we did see Vision. They did ban the Sim here early on. So it'll be Vision banning Hazard. So that also obviously protects them from you know, banning like some of the other tanks. And then there'll be the Wuyang ban here that comes out of Peps, and Peps doesn't even want to play the Wuyang, so it just kind of takes it away from Vision.
Now, Matt, you having drafted Willies to your fantasy team, do you know him to be much of a Hazard player?
You know, there's a little bit of an up and down, you know, roller coaster ride with Willies on my fantasy team.
I see.
So there were, you know,
sorry, is that a source?
Yeah, I was complaining about the Jags this morning. Now you're bringing up bad memories of, you know, I like to think of Willies fondly, you know, as a loose contributor to my fantasy team, not an always on,
not a core player.
Also,
Gotcha.
I don't think they would play it. I mean, he does play Hazard, but like,
yeah, it definitely feels like a protect ban.
But yeah, like, what in this series would lead you to believe that he even needs to go there, right? With how good the D.Va and the Zarya have been. So, like, is it are you trying to protect the Winston? That's probably what you're trying to do, right? Because if you would have banned the Winston, I don't think Tama would have played D.Va. It doesn't seem like they really would love to have played Ball. I mean, and then you're not going to play Doom, although Doom gets like some of the slow back, and like, you know, we'll see kind of how that rolls out. But
hot take, I don't think that Wuyang is good on this map at all. In fact, we saw, I think it was Twisted Minds. I think there's like a ban, or no, was it in NA? I'm not even sure. Yeah, it might have been. Either way, like, I think Wuyang was sort of the sight lines on this map can get a little tight. Like, it doesn't seem as good to really leverage that poke damage. So I don't think Peps really care about that ban.
It's also really apparent with after yesterday and then today's games. Like, if Chosewan doesn't have like an incredible game, it seems like it's very difficult for Vision to find wins, right? Even yesterday when he did have some tremendous games, it was impossible for them to find wins. So we'll see if Chosewan can kind of come alive here on the Tracer. But, you know, Dip and Co have played really well playing around them. It'll be Vision, you know, using that Zarya, where obviously Willie's now on the D.Va. Kid doesn't exactly want to go toe-to-toe. They'll get control of the point first, at least. And, oh, that is Zerion there, finding Chosewan, a massive pick-off, just as we were talking about how important he is.
Yeah, that was pretty crucial. I think I mentioned yesterday, I feel like, especially on Suravasa, it is your non-hit scan DPS that is a real difference maker here. You know, it needs to be the Tracer choicey one or that of Dip, right? If they can sort of run away with the game, then you are in very, very good shape. I don't hate the Freya hit from Zoro. We've seen how good it is at abusing some of the chokes. If you control the point and you have that boulder shot already, you build them so fast, you can punch your opponents walking straight into you. That's a decent force of the Susu there. Yeah, it's a pulse one that doesn't stick and probably wouldn't have been lethal anyway. The Vision Esports struggling to keep Tama healthy in the front line. Another Susu comes down. Empty God has got to be a little careful, but a ball of shot finds good purchase. Yet unfortunately for Zoro, leaves him suspended out in front of Vision for long enough for them to pick him off.
Yeah, it's a good sound barrier, though, from Violet. It kind of keeps everybody alive. Willie's actually just kind of funnel out onto the point. So the benefit here for Peps, right, is you kind of extend this out a little bit. You get close to 80. You hold on to your beat, right? This grab is obviously going to be really impeccable. Grab plus pulse bomb on the table. So we'll see if those kind of come into play. And I love this decision from Peps. Just match the Zarya. Like, there's no reason to continue to kind of play this Diva into it. So we'll get a Zarya mirror here, and Zoro will actually switch over and play the Soch, so we're going to get a mirror matchup.
Okay. Peps. In fairness, like, had a good start to this map, enough that 76% is what they're working with, so there's wriggle room here to make this switch. This just needs to be a solid fight for them. Tama with a grab, something that is maybe a little more concerning. Against the pulse bomb, you would need to Suzu this perfectly. I think so. This is a lot of pressure on both Kirikos now. So sound barrier comes in. Here's the grab pulse. Here's Suzu. Perfect. Can't ask for much more than that. And still, Zoro goes down. But at least Peps have given themselves a fighting chance because the Zeri and Suzu, since able to find Cookie, Zeri was very low after the fact here, but Dip is running over them. Perfect answer to the current combo in this composition. Team Peps, I mean, dude, what a showing.
And I mean, they lose Tama. You had mentioned a few times, like, they were letting Tama get really low, dangerously low. That time, even after the grab, he pushes up, he gets taken out. As look at this Dip with no fear, chasing Chosewan out. Going to take the health pack. Chosewan does not have the recall, as Tama's going to come back on the Winston here just to send it into OT.
Pressure's on for Vision Esports, no ultimates to work with, and Tama probably doesn't feel favored in this frontline matchup. It's Cookie going down yet again. Vision reeling after Dip took, 3 kills in that previous fight, and Peps were able to stave off the ultimate. And what's even worse is that Willie's is going to have that grab at some point in the next flashpoint, something the Vision won't be able to do a damn thing about. These guys are backsliding. It's getting out of control real quick.
I mean, Violet gonna make it out with his life, but is this even the comp you want to end up playing, right? We've seen where they played this Winston kind of like into the Zarya, and it just has not worked out. So now it looks like they were on the Zarya at the start. They get off to a pretty good start. Now I thought that the Winston would just be to actually get to that point so they can get a touch. It looks like they're gonna kind of continue to try and roll with this.
Off the point is Zoro playing, and it looks like he found a nice little bit of damage on Violet as he approached. Sound barrier Dip might be something that Vision can hang their hat on, but they need an opportunity to make use of it. Every day, violence! You turn up! You turn up every day! And you wait for the projectile to come at you, and then you press Q, brother!
Yeah.
For the love of God!
You ever see like any of those? I mean, I'm gonna say, did you ever see it? I know you probably haven't. Like any of those, like where you see like a game of street ball and somebody does something so crazy that they just all run on the court and they just end it. I feel like that's kind of what should happen right now. Like that play. I mean, you can't. That's like 3 in 2 days. That's crazy, man.
Getting beyond a coincidence at this point. Well, Peps have control. Violet back in the fight off Respawn. We're taking very low early. It's really rush hit for Sire, but if Peps have enough time, if they got can find a beat, and that can be pretty hard to remove from this point. I don't hate the idea of holding on to it. Dip, it just goes down to choice set 1, which is something that's kind of happened at the price of doing business. The Winston bubble, I thought I might have broken that up, but it is a beat for 4 players that ends up getting made use of, and Zoro punishes Cookie, who was knocked into a floaty state by that FD God boot.
Yeah, I mean, the beat comes down at like the perfect time when the Winston bubble's about to go away. So actually, Willis does get the benefits of it, and he is so strong here on the point. All charged up. You end up having these bubbles. I mean, look at that. Tama just dives in the back line. It's a bubble right away. No way for him to kind of power through that. And guess what? It's going to be another flashpoint here for Peps. His Vision is just... They're just fumbling it every which way you possibly could at the moment.
I love this. Johnny made a great point in the chat. Something you're not considered. This is like 2 generations of San Francisco Shock backliners.
Yeah, it's a revenge game.
Yeah, Violet versus FD.
You'd probably have to remind them that they played for the Shock at this point.
Yeah. Did they ever play at the same time? I want to say they did. Maybe not.
No, I don't think so.
No, okay, different iterations of the roster. Both with some similar tendencies as main supports, as we're starting to find out.
Tactical pause. Poor Tama, man. I mean,
yeah, no, he's leaving the game. It's like, no, this is where everyone sits down with Violet and says, "Okay, you are 70% to a sound barrier."
He's like, "I'm good."
Here's what we're gonna do. If people are running at you and you were 20 health, you wouldn't.
Yep.
You would not. No, you're not gonna press Q. All right.
But how many times are we gonna do that? I mean.
I just want to point out, like, at one point, and it wasn't unreasonable, Violet was considered one of the best sports in the world right? I think as like a flex support player on that like successful San Francisco Shock dynasty, he was considered to be a top tier elite DPS player. He did, Johnny found a screenshot. He did play alongside FD God. The team was Striker, Miro, Super, Quick-Open, Violet, and FD God.
Way back.
2021. Thank you, Johnny, for finding that for me.
You got Muse in there on the Gladiators. That is
skewed.
the Gladiators, they were going through it in the tank roll for a bit. I mean,
we need to bring back Roar, bro.
Yeah, bring back Roar, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know what, like Miro was playing Zarya for a hot minute. Anyway, we're reminiscing a little bit too much. So yeah, they did play alongside each other. I love that there's a video, presumably it's on our channel, where it's like a Lucio POV of FD God back then.
I still think like Violet is obviously really a great support player. I just don't know if it's like Lucio. Like Lucio might just have.
I actually don't know if like the main support role is one that really like allows him the degree of skill expression that he wants. He's always
totally
aggressive, like Baptiste on a play, right? And found great success there.
Here's what's brutal. With Thomas DC, he's actually going to go all the way back to the spawn. So like you saw, he's actually sitting up right outside the spawn door. But unfortunately, one of the things with the DC is you have to go all the way kind of back. So they're going to have to be a little bit rushed here if they're going to try and challenge him.
That is probably worst case, actually, considering it's really the only you need in play. Willie's grab. Now, not sure where that went. That was on the Peps side of the battlefield with Ultimate. Maybe caught someone off in the side rooms, but there was no elimination result with that grab coming down. So, well, we don't know what happened. Here's a pulse bomb, though, in the hands of Choice Tier 1. Good damage on Zoro. Wasn't able to finish the job just yet, and Tama's down. Vada gets the sound barrier just in time for Tama to already be dead. So you want to make his in this fight, and I think you won't. Advised to hold on to it for a little bit, but now the rest of the team is going to get brought down.
And the fight takes so long to develop, Mitch. I mean, you're already going to be up about halfway here for Peps, as they are looking to just dominate Vision Esports in a way I don't even think Johnny would have expected. As you're going to have double support ult here for Peps, as well as there'll be Zerion opening things up here with a Kitsune rush. Violet does get the beat down, and they get first pick.
Nicely done. Yeah, beat comes down from FD. God knows the pressure there isn't real enough that he would lose it. And it's a good response. It does require Vision Esports to cycle both of their support ultimates, but for Team Peps, this is the price of doing business. They knew they'd be walking into a double support ultimate scenario and had to just get it out of him at some point.
And that's such a good trade, though, for Peps, right? I mean, you trade your Kitsune rush for both support ultimates on the other side. You have FD God, who's going to have a beat here, and then you feel like you have the stronger comp here with that Zarya in the mix, right? So they kind of like use the speed to get everybody through the door here, an opportunity potentially. Ooh, Thomas takes him out. I thought FD God may have actually even went for the beat there. So this is a huge fight win for Vision, buys him some time.
I think FD God was trying to body block there, which makes sense. Zoro was under a lot of pressure, I think. Going for a beat, might have been a little too risky, but he definitely did notice that his, his soldier was very caught out of position. Good position there for Vision, though, able to keep this pressure applied, and now they can fight their way back into the game. Tama, after being rejuvenated by a brief, break from the server, comes back now close to a primal rage in this next fight. But keep an eye out for this overclock for Zoro.
But it's still just one fight that Peps needs to put this series away on this point. And I mean, Vision would have to obviously win the next two as well. So still a lot of good opportunity here for Peps. It'll be the overclock here. They're just trying to work down Tama.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Make it harder for Tama to contest. Tama's probably going to play safe until he has that primal. So this is a good time to get some point control. Maybe an overpush there in Division Esports territory. Cookie waiting for Zoro to come around the corner. This is bad news for Peps. The beat came out, apparently, from FD God, but it had no real impact over the fight. And Vision now have 2 DPS ultimates plus the primal range to make use of, and they may not even need to. A little bit sloppy here for Peps in the last couple of fights, man. I think they realized victory was so close to their grasp.
Yeah.
A chance to advance in this lower bracket, but they got ahead of themselves.
I mean, that is as good as you could ask for Vision, in the sense that now you kind of roll over into this next flashpoint, and you will have everything to work with here. We'll see if Peps can kind of get some of these ultimates out, but yeah, they use FD God's sound barrier. I believe they had ended up losing Zoro at the time there, so connects with everybody else, but still a nice shot by Vision to just kite some of that, not take a huge amount of damage, and able to survive that onslaught.
All right, black point number 4 coming up. This one's pretty iconic if you ask me. Tama just flattened as he tried to come forward. Good response though. Zoro. Sound barrier came out for Vision. They really want to double down here. And into the grab, that feels like a reasonable response, but it's a 3 versus 3. Or at least it was until FD God lingered a little bit too long out in the open. Now it's up to Zoro and Dip, who probably don't have a lot of incentive to stick around and throw their lives away.
No, as Dip, he'll probably try and make it out. We'll see if Chosuan will end up chasing. Not exactly. So you do get both support ults out. So now Willie's going to make a change here. Going to go away from the Zarya over to the D.Va. The D.Va really good, obviously, at dueling out with this Winston. Potentially a pretty good alternative here. Is looks like actually it's going to be a fast push here from Vision. They actually go through the choke here. Catch them off guard a little bit with Cookie's overclock.
Yeah, we saw that happen in the previous Flashpoint, man. Again, I think if you can catch Peps on the back foot, you can get a free fight. We don't have to spend much. It looks like there was an overclock committed here, but that seems very much worthwhile for Vision Esports now. They get already up to 60% and counting. They're back in the game.
And I mean, there's no great spot for Willies to go and get a new mech back, right? So gonna have to go back to the spawn, reset. The ult is now Vision looking to kind of put 2 flashpoints back to back together here to send us to a final one. They look much better here on this flashpoint, and even kind of clutching up the last one.
Dip with a pulse. This has to be big, Primal. Peps have been very quiet on this point. Yeah, he got caught up at the Primal. Nothing you can really do about that. Tama can juggle for days. Zoro can usually keep a respectful distance away from Winston. That's as close as Winston usually gets to Freya at the best of times, but Willies takes too much damage. Maybe got close to the choke there. There was a Winston bubble in play. And I just want to point out that ever since Violet Ajaxed, Peps have been winning. Vision been winning, sorry. I'm just saying.
Right, you think he just needs to get it out of his system.
Correlation is not causation, but there was an Ajax, and then Vision started getting flashpoints.
Okay, so one more flashpoint here to decide it. Ooh, I like this kind of swap here from Pep. Zarya Reaper here. Like, just punish Tama. Like, if you can just get rid of Tama, which they've done at times throughout this series, that's where everything could fall apart here for Vision. So I like this idea with the Reaper, especially because you're going to have that Kitsune rush coming up, right? Reaper, one of the strongest heroes with that ultimate rolling.
Decent TP position there for Dip. Look at the chase. I like the chase on the Reaper. It's very clever. Dip is very deep on that dive. And has to Wraith walk away, but exposes his back to Vision Esports. So that's a very good call. I do like what we're seeing here. The mid-fight calling from Vision has been very good over the second half of this map. Seeing opportunities to catch Peps when they're not fully set up, not fully in position. The Zarya comp does need the ducks to be in a row, so to speak. And that there, the chase down of the Reaper was very heads up.
Well, as Dip uses the Wraith walk to go back towards them, they end up using Syle's Kitsune rush and just running around the corner, chasing him and the rest of Peps down. So really good use of Syle's Kitsune rush. A lot of damage here going down. Vision doing a nice job poking. Let's see how Peps uses both support ults.
Here they come. Kitsune rush comes through really very low. How do they get him into the fight in a timely fashion? They can contest now at least behind this rush. And Zoro's looking for a decent boulder shot. There was no connection on that one. Recall here for choice C1. So out of the fight and playing from the fringes, Syle was brought down eventually. And if Peps can hold onto the sound barrier, they can absolutely come back. Matchup and Violence in the next engagement. But Cookie now coming back as a second wave. They're going to commit. Empty God has to be here and now after Violet lets his go. And Cookie plays at a safe distance, looking for the damage on FD God, but he evades him so far. Willis is pushed up. This puts Cookie in a bit of an awkward spot. Choice C1 stick doesn't really result in an elimination, but he can play it in this Winston bubble. And Vision have forced Peps off the point. They should be able to flip here midway through the fight, as Dip hasn't found a meaningful way into this fight.
I mean, it's a lot of damage out of the Tama. It's going to force that Primal Rage, though, right? So you get that big key ultimate out of Tama. Now he's going to take in a lot of damage. You're pushing them back just a little bit. You're going to end up with a grab here, but you lose FD God.
Not going to be ideal. FD God very much needed. Even if the sound barrier is made use of. Tama picked off, though, by Dip. Finally, the Reaper starting to get a little bit of value in this fight. Now over to the point they go. Peps can flip this back, but they need to stick. Yeah, I like the grab idea here, but look, Willie's getting picked off by Viner from within it, and it has to be a death loss and commitment from Dip to keep them in the game. Eventually, Peps are going to get the result they were looking for, but they are hanging on by a thread.
I mean, barely, right? As Willie's going to make a swap there just so the Maul can get a rush out, get closer to the spawn door, then back to the Zarya here, just trying to get any type of speed advantage to get back. So now you do have you still have Zarion's Kitsune rush, man. I mean, that is a massive ultimate here for this next fight.
This is very, 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 very much winnable for Peps. Can they make use of this Reaper? Tama Tama does not have a primal race to stall anymore. That previous fight was Vision's best one in terms of taking support ultimates, and now they're going to get it done with another bit of pulse bomb. It's a rush to start off this fight. Tama's going to be forced away. Wraith walk forward by Dippy. Absolutely wants to take this Winston out of the action, but eventually has to give up the chase. Elsewhere, Empty got building towards a beat. 84% and counting now as 99 is shown on both sides. And Jose One's looking for a recipient of this pulse bomb. He's held onto it for much of the fight, but Dip goes down. Violent's able to punish him for getting out of position, presumably. Overclocks are going to be a factor now as Cookie pops his first. Looking for some kind of purchase on the remainder of this 4-player Pep squad, but Empty God has the beat. Willie's just kept alive. I can't believe it ends like that. What? Off the point they go?
And they had the sound barrier at that moment, right? They had the beat avail, like they had the overhealth actually just kind of coming down, and they had the overclock coming in, and I guess they just don't get it. To the point. Jose Juan goes 32-2 in one of the more bizarre Flashpoint games I think we've seen. As I mean, that is just Vision holding on at the final moments. I'd love to see a replay of what happened there at the end, because FD God lands a pretty good beat, connects with everybody, even gets Willies, who's a little bit far away from him at the moment, kind of gets in position to do so, but they get nobody on the point.
I'm not gonna lie. I really thought that was done and dusted. I thought Peps had the game there. Somehow, I dip on the Reaper got
he's around the corner and she gets chased.
Yeah, I mean, which is going to happen. You see a Lucio there looking like a tasty morsel, you're absolutely going to run him down. This is like a very Lucio-centric set of highlights here. FD God there tries to body block for Zoro, doesn't work out. It's Peps get forced to a couple of very compromising situations. I think the ult calling from Vision gets drastically better. They really do lock in that second half of Suravasa.
100%. I mean, they looked pretty dialed in towards the end, and then also, I mean, look, they get fortunate that Peps kind of makes a mistake at the final moment. Says, "Ooh, look at that!" I mean, the sound barrier comes down. You have FD God right there, and then Willie's too, and it looks like maybe nobody actually gonna touch on it.
Yeah,
it's kind of like keep OT rolling, and it just kind of like evaporated so fast. But that is one that goes absolutely down to the wire. I mean, dude, they touch there. They have sound barrier rolling and overclock. There's a chance that they just put the series away.
Yeah, I mean, that is at C9 for sure. I think we have to hand out that designation for that moment, because Peps are in like a 4-player beat situation, I think. Very much winnable for them. But you can see here, like, you see why Peps started to get blown out of the game towards the end. Like, the KD, obviously, for
this is a wild one.
To be fair, it happened so quickly, I'm not super sure that there's actually a C9 there until I see the replay. So Vision. Now, the only way this game could be more poetically perfect, I just want to set the stage. Vision win the next map. And then they throw because of an Ajax in the 5th map to complete the fakest of fake comebacks. That would be...
I would love to see just the rage of Soim seeing Peps go up to a Vision just kind of stumble into 2 straight maps, and then they just kind of fumble it at the and Peps just like dominates game 5 to just essentially just burn some time. So Esperance is a map that Vision lost to Peps in their last series, right? So that was a 3-1 win for Vision. They end up losing this map to Peps, but Peps only won it by like 1 meter, Mitch. It comes all the way down to the wire. So not a dominant performance by Peps by any stretch of the imagination here on Esperance in their last match. So this is certainly winnable for Vision.
My eyes on Tama. I think he was able to really up his game in terms of the Winston performance on their previous map. You saw Willie's like making quite a few different swaps, right? At first it was the Diva that didn't work. They went to Zarya Reaper to try and punish, but Tama was then able to play pretty safely, avoid the Zarya, and I think, that Dip's Reaper was read into on a number of occasions, right, where they're able to punish these like TPs forward. So I liked what I saw from the Winston play. Like, if Vision Esports can play at this level, I don't care what Tama plays. I don't care if they play something that feels a little off meta or a little bit fruity in terms of flavor. The Winstons look really good. The bans here are interesting, right? Because it's the same discussion we had on Suravasa, where if you ban the Winston, Tama just plays ball. So what are your sort of bans supposed to look like here, and how do you most effectively target this Vision team if you're Peps and you're trying to get this series done before they come to their senses and start playing like that 4-2 squad? We know they're 4-3 squad rather. We know they can be.
Yeah, so I mean, this series is a little bit different than the last go around between these two teams, but let's see what the so the bans are already in, so it'll actually be Peps getting rid of the Winston here off the start, and then Vision gets rid of the Sim, but we haven't really seen them kind of go to the Sim really. Like Peps doesn't really scream like that they even want to kind of play that no Sim potentially, right? But when we did see this game on Esperanza, it was a wrecking ball ban here. This is where Peps actually used their ball ban, and then this is where Vision actually banned the Freya. So a much different ban strategy just like 2 weeks later from these teams. Obviously a patch comes through, but maybe they're afraid that like Dip was going to play the Sim here and they were going to play like some Sim Zarya stuff.
Yeah, okay. Like we sort of talked about, right? The Winston ban doesn't necessarily put Tama in a position where he can't find some, hero that's comfortable. I think the Wrecking Ball is an option. I think that also asks us the question, are we going to go back to what we saw in the first map where Sombra was brought in by Peps? Seemed to work for them pretty well. That wasn't necessarily to answer a Wrecking Ball, but we know it can be quite effective here. Dip Sombra, like Zoro, could play to Cassidy as well. Like you can find yourself in the position to play that like anti-ball comp if that's where you think, and this is a couple levels deep, right? But if that's where you think Tama's going to go.
Do you think though, like, I mean, was the ball impactful to the point that you would want to see them go to it again?
Well, it's more of a question of what the other option is supposed to be for Tama, right? They can play Zarya, but we've seen Tama play Zarya and it's been fine. Like, I don't know if it was like the most convincing. I think when the last time these two teams played each other, it was fine. You know, it wasn't really sort of lighting the world on fire. So I don't think that Vision hasn't have a preference to switch Zarya or any of those more sort of ground-born compositions. They do like to play this more up-tempo dive style. I think it also suits Choi better than Choi C1 to have someone to dive on in with. That's where their Tracer goes 32-2, for example. The guy absolutely had a sick game. And you called it at the start of Suravasa. You were like, if Choi C1 doesn't pop off, this team struggles.
I wonder if we can get a reinforced check of, is he hedging now? He was showboating earlier before, but he's been pretty silent in the Discord after that one. So I might start to get a little bit worried about Peps. It would be also a Peps thing to do, Mitch, to get reverse swept. That is also something that could potentially happen. As if I'm Vision, I don't know if I'd go back to the ball. I think I would just match like the Zarya and force Willies to make some changes, and I think that's what they're hovering here, and this to me would be the right approach. I think if you played the ball, I think they would just play FACEIT, and I don't know if the coordination's good enough from Vision to be able to kind of win against that. So I like this decision to play the FACEIT early.
5, 4,
Hazard here from Willies. That means that Hazard ban previously may not have just been a pure protect from Vision Esports. It is going to be a Hazard look for Peps. Obviously, a comp that makes much better use of this high ground than the Zarya setup does. And again, if you lose the first fight, it's really hard to play this map. Like, you are playing into that ridiculous high ground disadvantage. And I think it gets even worse when you're Zarya, someone who really can't even contest that space. Whereas for Willies, if they lose that fight, okay, well, we'll find a way to clamber up there. We'll find a way to establish a foothold just with that verticality that our tank has at their disposal. Bubble there on Choice C1, mostly ignored by Zoro and Co. As the spot's already starting to get forward now for Peps. Tama's getting chunked low. That's the last bubble the Zarya's going to have available. And yet, Willies and Dip know it. They run straight at the pink-haired lady. She is no more.
Yeah, I mean, the two new additions, right, for Peps for this stage, obviously, previously playing on Quick Esports together with Willies, and Dip, talking about those two, they kind of combine for a pretty nice setup there at the start. Tama takes a lot of damage from Zoro on the Sojourn at range, and they do a great job. But as soon as the damage comes down, collapsing on it, blowing up that bubble, not allowing Tama to get healed up, and Tama's going to make a swap now over to the D.Va. So this is the first time I think we've seen him play D.Va throughout the series.
You just can't play Zarya into this. It's really rough. I think this high ground is super annoying. You can't pressure backline at all. You cannot help Choice C1 either. Right, to get up there and sort of command that space. And Peps do the kind of obvious thing, right? They just fall back to this high ground and say, well, if you want to try and get back into the map, you're going to have to play against this extreme sort of altitude disadvantage. So we'll now have Zoro looking for picks. I think amidst all of this and this defense matrix for Tama, his application is going to be pretty instrumental. Shutting the high ground Sojourn down is a huge part of the game plan. And for now, Peps are in no hurry. They have a lead and they have the favorable positioning. It's on Vision to decide how this fight goes.
Well, it's going to be double support ult here for both teams. So maybe they're just kind of like, getting ready, farming up these support ults. So then we'll decide to go. As Violet now gets a beat, as it's going to be FD God and Violet dropping beat at the same time.
I was worried that FD God was going to drop down in beat, but he hits the corner of the masonry there as Willies went quite low. Tama out of mech though. That's not the result Vision were looking for. After the support ultimates dissipate, it's Vision that take far too much damage to stay in the fight. And they really invested heavily in this one, as did their opponents, of course. Peps both support ultimates, but they've still got a lot to work with.
Yeah, Vision does end up holding on to this Kitsune rush, right? So you do have that advantage coming in this next fight, but you've given up the checkpoint. It's a brutal thing to have happen, right? Where Peps is going to get it here close to the choke, and then guess what? They're going to back up. They're going to control some of this high ground. And you have Willies on one side, you have Zoro on the other, as you see Tama going to try and clear Willies out of that position up on the high ground.
Kitsune rush held onto by Vision. Obviously, checkpoint already gained. Peps once more in no hurry. Want to keep Vision Esports playing from this position for as much of the game as they possibly can. Violet gets picked off, though. That's not great. Zoro's able to open up with an overclock, and from this low ground position, you'd be surprised to see him appear on the kill feed like this, but somehow the enemy Lucio lingered a little bit too close to that questing barrel, and so Vision Esports have to fight now from a disadvantageous position with a numbers disadvantage. Dip down. Tama trying to get cute, pushing the self-destructing mech around the corner, but at least it's allowed to get back in. So there's still something here for Vision Esports to play for. The Jagger Ball makes things a little bit awkward, though, and the bot has already gotten back towards this little archway. Peps just have to regroup after this, and if they can, they're going to be fine. Let's head to a listen here and see how things are unfolding for Vision.
This point. Yeah, trace out left.
Hustle left side. Come to me. Out. Keep go back.
Hang on top. Hazard one. No chance.
5 points. I just go mirror Hazard. This is shit. They use Fox. Use Hazard before.
So we're clipping for. I'm gonna have close.
Not there.
Tape is trap. Yeah.
Hazard for prime.
Maybe 해줘도 빛. Please Hazard.
Can shoot Hazard out. 3, 2,
Yeah, I'm
1,
peeking
shoot
from main, shooting Hazard. Hazard out.
Hazard no jump. I touch fine.
Tracer left.
I don't have wall.
Hazard top, I think.
Lucio
Peeking
top.
top left.
Hazard left.
Yeah, shooting out Hazard. Hazard still top left.
I go under. Hazard top left. Hazard top left. Nice.
That's clear. I keep
Hazard
going
coming.
from
Hazard coming.
All house. Switch one.
Solomon.
Hazard one.
Hazard on. Don't get jumped.
Lucio. Only trade.
Point.
Let's trade on Scar.
Hello?
I go left side.
They have beat.
Care about let Tracer might come through.
They have beat Hazard. Maybe.
Okay, first one Hazard. Hold on with Fox, okay? We can kill Hazard. Yeah. We can play long. They have to come.
Start Fox.
There's our guy. Our side.
They are top right. Just fight one.
Playing wide.
We can go Fox when they touch. Look so damn close.
Can flank right maybe. Can Fox here.
Just keep trade. Hazard left. Go.
Help.
Someone inside. Fight inside. Someone.
Clear one.
Hold on. It's not there.
Kill. These only beats? Yeah, I think so.
No, 대유저 해줘도 빛.
Okay. You're gonna have a seat. Yeah, they're just gonna park the bus. They will just play slow. They will just play on top. Maybe we need to set up a dive with ult on top. Just touch. As a top left.
You can retake.
I think we have to set it for top. I think we have to set up a dive for top.
Yeah.
Maybe Violet could keep left maybe. Actually, Violet and me can go top right. Me and Violet can go top right with ult.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
They drop on me.
Yeah, we take top.
Been tough going for Vision so far. I don't hate how they're trying to assume this high ground position, but Zoro keeps finding these picks to open up the fight. And yeah, it's usually followed up by Tama finding something and then being traded out for that. Vision are losing out in every little exchange of value across the map, and they're running out of time to get back in. They're so far behind. They can't even win one fight, let alone chain 2 or 3 together, which is what would be required here.
I know, and now you're in this spot where the bot is just barreling down into your spawn. Zerion ends up with a Kitsune Rush. He might not even need it though, because Zoro finds Violet. Zoro kind of like taken over here towards the end of the game.
Zoro's been huge here, always opening up the account and finding the most important targets. This is Vision Esports, not just, I don't know, triumphantly or at least valiantly falling out of OWCS contention. This is them losing in the lower bracket in an upset loss and playing pretty poorly. I think Peps have really had the better of them over so many of these maps, and it wasn't quite the fake comeback that I dreamed of going to 5, but it's after what we saw in Suravasa, it's pretty bloody close. Yeah, here's Kitsune Rush now. That's just going to allow them to run over Vision Esports. Are you really going to go out of this tournament getting held inside your spawn? The full cap on Esperanza being threatened here. Downpour just to secure it. Sile can't do anything. And Team Peps have literally just executed Vision out of OWCS Stage 3 in the most ignoble way possible.
And this is one where I think everybody would have said after yesterday's performance, right? Peps' 2-win team during the regular season. They just lose to Vision a few weeks ago. Vision looked pretty decent yesterday in a loss. That Vision would be kind of the favorites. But we talked about it, right? Chosewa needs to be like tremendous for this team to kind of, punch up and contend. And I mean, Dip just took it to him on this map, right? 20-1. Dip and Zoro really kind of coming alive. And look, I mean, Thomas looked pretty good throughout this entire regular stage, but I felt like Willie's today for sure had his number in terms of those tank matchups.
Can't argue with that, Matt. I also think Zoro is probably the most important player for Peps on that map. I mean, every fight, Zoro is finding a first pick off a railgun headshot. Something like that is really impressive to see. It starts, though, with Tama on the Zarya, which we suggested would probably be a bit more comfortable for him anyway. Then over the Diva, as Peps get the high ground after winning the first fight. This doesn't work, and this doesn't work after Vision have expended, so many of their ultimates to really fight for that engagement. They actually kept, I think, a Kiri ultimate for the next fight, but they end up switching off this over to a Hazard. It feels like we're just looking at the more uncomfortable aspects of Tama's pull. At no point, by the way, Matt, was there any interest in playing Wrecking Ball. So to me, that says that the Winston ban on Tama really hit him where it hurt.
I mean, it shouldn't hurt that bad, though. I mean, there are other tanks we've seen Tama play and can go to and be pretty successful. And I mean, look, this is a team yesterday, we were talking about it, where Vision plays against Alcad. It goes the distance on Lijiang Tower, right?
It did
I mean, Suravasa is pretty close. I mean, it shouldn't be as dreadful, but I mean, dude, it was pretty brutal today for Vision. I mean, it just doesn't even seem like the same team we saw yesterday.
Yeah, that Winston ban, it feels like it did hurt Tama. It's so badly that he was screaming for an epidural while giving birth to the fattest L of Vision's season. It was unreal.
But yeah, I mean, look, Winston isn't even like particularly one of the stronger tanks in the meta right now. Like, it shouldn't unravel your entire team that he's got, right? I mean, Zarya is extremely good. Diva has always been pretty decent, for a while now. Hazard in the mix. Ball, like, there's a bunch of other tanks you would probably say. We even saw Twisted Minds play some Ramatra yesterday, and it looked pretty good. Like, there's a lot of other tanks in the mix that are stronger than the Winston. And to kind of lose the Winston, it's almost like they're pushing you to another tank. Oh my God, Johnny
just won
560,000 channel points. I bet all of mine. I have like 60. Maybe he'll give me a loan with a good rate though, so I can get back in the game.
But done. I'm cool. I have no money left.
Your team shouldn't fall apart though, because Winston's gone. Like, Winston's not even like, hasn't really been that strong for this entire stage. So yeah, I mean, Peps really just displaying like, hey, they came in with a great game plan. They knew exactly kind of the comps they wanted to play, force Vision onto some stuff that made them uncomfortable. So a huge win, definitely deserved.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Great job to Peps. They get to advance here in the lower bracket OWCS, and it's all on the line for them so far. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Some good standard comps from this Peps team, some good honest Overwatch, and yeah, but you're regretting, taking Willies out your fantasy team now, big boy. Let's head to the desk.
Well, these don't count for fantasy. It would be nice. Week 4, this would have been nice.
Yeah.
Not exactly right now.
Because I think you wanted to fire him into the sun at one point. You know, it would have been great to have this performance.
I believe that was the language I used as well. Yeah, I would have loved to see this release like week 3 through 6. That would have been awesome.
You trust the process, my guy. Let's head to the desk breakdown. This Vision versus Peps upset. And we'll move on to our second EMEA elimination game of the day.
Thank you so much. Back here with Jake and Johnny to break it all down. And yeah, you win some, you lose some. You lost a lot. Johnny, you're rich. What are you going to do? Where are you going to spend all those channel points or whatever it is?
Are you going to go all in on Gen G next?
We're getting bottle service tonight. We're getting a few oysters.
Nice. So just a regular day in Johnny's life.
You know, we all live in LA, so come over to celebrate the Peps win.
So now I'm generally confused. Like, I have a lot of big feelings right now. I'm struggling to regulate. I don't know if I'm more excited and happy for Peps or more disappointed and just baffled at what I've seen from Vision. Lots of feelings.
I would go the Vision kind of through the first 2 maps route. I think that's where I'm going. Rolling out with the Wrecking Ball Pharah strategy on Samoa, and then whatever that Junkertown was. I don't think there's... Like, great job, Peps, but what the hell, Vision? What were you cooking?
Yeah, it's we have some questions regarding the compositions, I'm pretty sure, and we might have some time to get into that. But first things first, let's chat to one of the winners from Peps. Dip will be joining us for a quick chat. Dip, first of all, of course, huge congratulations. I was a non-believer. Jake was too. Gotta admit it. I said it live. Johnny, however, full faith. Value a bet. Talk to us about. Talk to us about your preparation for this match. About just how you engaged Vision, because this was dominant.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I think we had a really good preparation going into the match, and I'm not surprised at all you're saying that people were not Peps believer. Looking at our overall regular season and especially the performance against good guys, but I think we showed up when it mattered, so here we are.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I think you guys did play a really solid game today, and the preparation was good. You guys looked like really well prepared for your opponent. Of course, looking on ahead, I know you guys, of course, are hoping to get that qualification slot to Stockholm with maybe some tough opponents ahead in the bracket. Have you thought at all about sort of like where you want to go in those future matches, or were you guys just really focused on this first opener?
We're really focused on this match, to be honest. Like, of course, that's the big step before going to Stockholm. Now we're 1 match away from going to Stockholm, so we have a full week to actually get into it and try our best. So yeah, mostly focused on Vision, to be honest.
Yeah, so you'll be playing either Virtus Pro or Gen G for that 1 slot to Stockholm. But it's been a bit of a tumultuous kind of like a week, because you did lose to GGA, which, a pretty bad loss there. How did you reflect on that loss, and how are you kind of like channeling the energy moving forward, towards Virtus Pro and Gen G rather? So like, how did you deal with that loss? What did you guys review on, and how does that like prepare you, make you better for the future matchup against VP and Gen G?
Well, yeah, again, like the showing we had against good guys normally was terrible. But personally, like, just talking about me, but it's probably true for also some of my teammates, that loss felt so bad, and I heard so many people on the socials and everything say like Peps are gonna be 6, they're not gonna make it, etc. Like, that really fueled me so hard to beat Vision and try our best to have a chance to go to Stockholm. Even if we don't go, like, just have a chance and beat Vision. So I think that loss is actually the best timing for us to have it, because it actually woke us up, gave us a really good wake-up call, and helped us improve. So now we'll have to face either Gen or VP, right? So we'll have to try our best again.
Yeah, man, you guys showed up today. It was a dominant performance. It was so much fun to see the dominance coming out of Team Peps, and we wish you best of luck in your upcoming matches in the lower bracket. Dip, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Of course, great to hear from Dip. And yeah, I mean, they opened themselves a door here. They do have a possible chance to make it to Sweden. You just have to come third, right?
I mean, a couple more wins, right? Yeah, one more, right? All you got to do is win your next opponent. However, there's a good chance it's Virtus Pro. So, you know, it's easy.
Yeah, but Virtus Pro did not look great thus far, right? So like there is,
they've looked all series or all
exactly. So there is an opportunity if they manage to play the same way they did today. It was full steam ahead. I liked what I saw.